So far away, Lucas, what is your favourite chocolate bar?
Ooh, are we talking like a fancy chocolate bar, or are we talking like one that you can just get at the corner shop?
How fancy are we talking?
Well, I don't know, because, you know, I like a lot of Lindt chocolate, for example, and a lot of, like, Belgian chocolates and stuff, but...
You're too good for a crunchy. You're
No,
too good
because
for a twirl.
I was going to say one of my favourites was crunchy, and also a dime bar as well. I love a dime bar.
Dime bar's so good. You know what, folks at home? Let us know your favourite chocolate bar. Conservative estimates value the snack food industry as being worth at least several $100 billion. And a lot of that money is actually put into R&D.
And most of it comes from Fredo's.
Yes. Why is it that Fredos have become like this lightning rod? For Americans who don't know, a Fredo is just a chocolate bar shaped like a frog. Here's a Fredo. And for some reason, just everyone in the UK at some point in their life gets annoyed at how much they cost now, because they used to cost 10p.
I'm pretty sure at some point during my childhood they were 5p as well.
Yeah, and just it's become like one of the clearest examples of like inflation. And every time I see people complain that Freddos used to cost 10p, it's like houses used to cost 10 grand.
Yeah,
and now they cost like 250 grand.
It's one of those really tangible things that from a child growing up to be an adult, you can see this thing literally costs like 5-6 times the amount it did when I was a kid. And like, it's such an easy concept to grasp because we've literally been purchasing them since childhood.
And also as well, I never knew why it was Freddos though, because I was all about the Taz bar. Taz bar kicked the shit out of Fredo. Because Taz bar's the one that had caramel in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fredo bars have never been particularly like great, but I just think it's that visible inflation that people have been able to see from their entire life.
Yeah, I still think, like, if you wanted to get elected in this country, just say Freddo's going to be 10p again and fuel will cost £1. You'd get in on those two policies alone. But, not finished my intro. So, and as you might expect with that much money on the line, companies are very keen to not let the competition know what they're up to, which is how you end up with a situation in the 1980s where a company literally delivered a chocolate bar to stores nobody knew existed until they started stacking it on shelves. And Lucas, would you like to hazard a guess at what this chocolate bar was? I'll give you a clue. It's one that people are always campaigning to bring back.
Oh, to bring back?
It got cancelled, and then they brought it back. Then it got cancelled again, and then they brought it back.
The Futurama bar?
There's a Futurama bar?
Just...
Oh, right, don't keep bringing it back.
Futurama.
Fuck's sake, how'd you get me with that one, you prick? No, it's the Wispa. The Whisper.
When did the Whisper ever go away? It's literally, like, in shops now.
Yeah, they went away in the 90s, and then they brought it back. There was, like, some student started a campaign on Facebook about bringing back the Whisper. It whips ass. They brought the Whisper back.
I've never knew it was ever gone.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I don't buy chocolate bars much anymore. I think last time I bought chocolate bars, like, I went to my mum's house, and I just went to a shop and got us all a chocolate bar for a cup of tea. And after, like, I recovered from the open wallet surgery, I'm like, I guess I'm not buying any more of these. Well, the company who makes the Whisper, for anyone who doesn't know, is Cadbury, who used to make chocolates, but now makes, like, greasy slabs of brown shit that tastes like, just the boot heel of someone who just moonwalks across a bakery floor.
So is it Cadbury that got bought by, like, Mondelez or whatever they're called?
And they just fill the chocolate up with palm oil, and the chocolate sucks now.
And then the next day I ate the Kit Kat, and it tasted exactly like an old lady's cupboard. It's not a euphemism.
Yay, capitalism!
Yeah, that's the problem as well. Not only does it cost more, it tastes worse. And speaking of costing more and being worse, Lucas, Fact Fiend is now back. And we brought it back because, one, I've got to pay my mortgage. I've got to pay that mortgage. But also, I want to promote the work of myself and my friends. And me and you, Lucas, we started another channel. It's called Wiki Weekends. It's a format people like. It's a format people did enjoy. And now it's back on a different channel, which you can subscribe to at the links you'll find below.
You can indeed, yeah. And we just enjoyed making Wiki Weekends and decided that it should be its own separate idea and its own separate channel to stand on its own.
You should subscribe to right now. Also, like, if anyone out there wants to share pictures of their pets, by the time this video goes out, we'll have introduced a new gimmick. Because you've got to have gimmicks, right? On a channel. A gimmick for our podcast where, once per week, we let our fans vote on and submit pictures of their pets. And that pet will be just featured front and centre on the podcast. With our format, Pet of the Week.
We're literally doing a Pet of the Week where our Patreon members of $1 or above can submit a pet for Pet of the Week, and then everybody on the community Discord can vote for which pet becomes Pet of the Week, and just obviously whichever gets the most votes each week will be featured on our podcast for the entire podcast.
Yes, but because that feature won't be live yet, I'll instead now put pictures of your pet, Lucas, so send me some pictures of Cade and Oryx, and I'll put them on screen right now. And Lucas, you could probably guess what the Whisper was released as direct competition to, given that its whole selling point is the bubbles.
I would presume that it would just be arrows then.
Arrow. Oh, lovely bubbly.
The Aero, yes, which is manufactured, or was manufactured by Roundtree, who got bought out, because every company is just owned by one of 3 big companies now. It's like it's PepsiCo and Mondelez, right? They just own everything. And Kraft.
And yeah, you're right. And I will say you are committing a cardinal sin, because you're not whispering the word whisper.
I never liked Whispers, I always preferred Aeros. And here's the thing about Aeros, you just look at it, it's like it's a chocolate bar, right? And I mentioned earlier that companies spend literally billions of dollars on R&D.
Mm-hmm.
Like snack companies. And one of the things about the Aero that's actually fascinating is that no fucker knew how they did it. The reason that Cadbury wanted to make a competitor to the Aero is that for Americans, Aero is just chocolate with bubbles in it. And no other chocolate manufacturer in the UK could figure out how they made the Aero, which meant that Roundtree's essentially just had the entire market for people after that kind of chocolate bar. And they wanted a piece of that pie. They wanted a piece of that chocolate bar because there was literally only one company making a chocolate bar that did that, and they didn't know how they did it.
That is weird, because, you would have presumed it's some kind of relatively simple aeration process, but that's from that's from a perspective of just somebody that's just the layman who doesn't know anything, whereas trying to figure out how to do that in the chocolate and keep its form and keep its aeration, but also do it on a mass scale.
Exactly, yeah, and that's one of the things Cadbury were desperate to figure out, because they're like, how are they doing this? How do we copy it? And what do we call the bar we make when we figured it all out? And what they did is they tasked their biggest chocolate eggheads figure out how the fuck this is done. And they eventually did.
No one had succeeded in creating a bubbly chocolate bar to rival it until now.
At the time, I was the chief engineer of the Bourneville site. The technical boffins, they had found a new process.
And I'd love to tell people how they do it, but we don't know because they never patented the idea, so they'd never have to write it down. It's an industry secret. They refuse to tell people how they do it, because if they told people how they do it, other manufacturers could figure out how to do it as well, and then they'd have even more competition in that space.
Surely all it takes is a factory tour, though.
Yeah, but it's a trade secret. And I'm a big fan of the idea of companies being petty like this. It's like the thing about Coca-Cola, where no fucker knows how to make Coca-Cola, or Colonel Sanders chicken, no one knows how to make that. It's just written down in a vault somewhere. I think they have half of it in one vault and the other half in another vault.
What happens to the 11th herb? How do you split that?
I think one of them has 6, one has 5 on it, and there's the Coca-Cola recipe, and it's one of the things that the company plays up to it. So how much of this is truth and how much of it is just marketing is up for debate. But Coca-Cola's 2 people know the recipe, and I think they know half each, and they're not allowed to ride on the same plane. But again, that might be marketing. Have you got any favorite industry legends about foodstuffs like that in your mind?
I mean, the one that I was just thinking of in my head is just no one knows how to make the Big Mac sauce, and loads of people have just been I know exactly how to make the Big Mac sauce, but
Thousand Island dressing and marketing.
It's basically, it's just I do think my favourite might just still be the 11 herbs and spices, but...
Have you seen as well, people won't know this, but KFC's official Twitter account just follows the Spice Girls and 5 guys named Herb. For just no reason. It's such a dumb thing to be committed to.
I did find it very funny when I used to work for Nando's, though, when people acted as if a lot of it was massive industry secrets as well, of how do they do it and all this. And then there was one time where I think we saw a local paper put out a thing of secrets you didn't know about Nando's, and it was Oh, did you know that they cook the chicken before you order it, and then they just put it on the grill with your sauce? It's like,
Yeah.
what did you expect that they're cooking whole chickens
Every
from
day.
raw? No, they cook the chickens all the time throughout the day, but like they're not cooking raw chickens to order because it'd take an hour for the chicken to get to your table. Like,
And it always takes long enough to get served in Nando's as it is, right? But I always love those. Just marketing. You see, half of it is just marketing.
totally.
In regards to like the Whisper, I said Cadbury's legit did not know how the Aero got made, and they had millions of pounds in R&D figuring it out. And when they did, they immediately just like, it's a trade secret. We're not telling people how we did it. We're not even going to patent the idea because that way it'll be written down somewhere. And if it's written down, people could steal it. Even if it's patented, they could still steal it. Or they could like modify it enough so we wouldn't be able to sue them. I think there's something similar with WD-40. WD-40 was never patented, I think, so because if they had to patent it, they have to write it down. So if you figured out how to make WD-40, you can make your own. But it's a lot harder to figure out how to make it if it's not written down anywhere. It also means that, like, knockoff versions of it aren't as good because they don't have, like, the basis of their recipe to go from.
And that's the thing with recipes, right? Especially when it becomes something that's like an industrial product where, yeah, you can kind of backwards engineer things, but you can't do it with knowing the exact ratios to make the perfect version.
Yeah, and you also can't have the secret ingredient, which is love. There's loads of stuff like that in the food industry. Like, we've got a friend, we can't say their name, but they work for a very big snack food manufacturer. And they were telling me, like, all the bullshit that they do. Like, basically, their department is, at the moment, I think he's like a taste scientist for them. His whole job is figuring out how to make chocolate cheaper, but still taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they told me is, like, it's a huge worry for the industry that we're running out of vanilla. You heard this? We run out of vanilla?
Oh, right, no.
Vanilla's like going extinct. It's really expensive now. But the problem is, if you take vanilla out of chocolate, the chocolate tastes like shit. You don't taste vanilla in the chocolate, but if it's not there, you do. It's like salt. You don't taste salt when you make like in the food normally, but if you don't salt food as you're making it, tastes like shit.
Obviously, like, you taste salt if people oversalt things, but if people correctly salt proportionally, then you won't notice that there's a lot of salt in there, but you take it out, and that's when you'll notice.
And apparently that's a huge issue, and that he's the guy who told me that. Like, someone managed to save millions and millions of pounds per year by figuring out if they scraped the Kit Kat logo on top of a Kit Kat, if they made that, like, just ever so slightly bigger as an indentation, they could save millions on chocolate each year.
And that's the stuff you don't notice. Because everybody noticed when Toblerone took
That's
like
the best one, right?
Huge chunk out of each Toblerone chunk, but
That was so funny,
like,
right?
Nobody just figures it out when you take like the millimeter off the Kit Kat bar.
I'm gonna put that picture on now because like the Toblerone is so fucking stupid. Because they like Toblerone. Here's what Toblerone's supposed to look like. Here's what the company tried to release, and then they legit tried to argue. No, we think it looks better. It's like it looks like shit.
I've come to talk to Ross. What?
Nothing? No, nothing.
And they tried to claim it wasn't because they were trying to save money.
The thing is, it would have gone down a lot better if they'd just done what they said they didn't want to do and make each bar shorter. Because people get over that, right? Like, people notice it for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or something.
It's always a thing like shrinkflation. Like we all know that everything we're buying is getting more expensive and smaller.
But when you take away the satisfaction of how chunky those Toblerone bites used to be, people will be pissed at it for years, as we're still talking about it now.
Because it's really funny that they tried to claim it wasn't to save money. And let's never forget when like our mutual friend just sent us a picture of like I accidentally ordered a 4-kilo Toblerone off the internet, and it's just him holding it like a baby.
Like this
is so fucking ginormous.
Toblerone.
But no, getting back to the Cadbury Whisper, when they figured out the process, they supposedly figured out a better process than Rowntree's did for Aero, because they were able to make the bubbles smaller, which made the chocolate creamier, or so they said. And in blind taste tests, people did prefer the Whisper, and all their marketing for it focused on the fact that it was just unbelievably creamy.
Milk chocolate.
It's always had the Cadbury's milk chocolate. Now it's got something else.
The distinctive velvety texture.
Yes, that is the Cadbury's Whisper chocolate, but now it's got something new.
Chocolate?
And like blind taste tests as well are another one where I think it's like Pepsi get really salty about this because in blind taste tests, Pepsi always kicks the fuck out of Coca-Cola. But Coca-Cola still has the most market share. And they get really salty about it. And it turns out it's like, well, no, it's because Pepsi's sweeter. And when you have it in small gulps, the sweeter one is obviously the one you prefer. But it's way, way too much to have like a big glass of. Because I can't even drink like full sugar Coke or Pepsi anymore.
I mean, I never have. We always grew up with our parents buying us the diet version. So the moment I tasted what regular Coke was, I was just like, oh, this is just sickly.
It's way too sweet, right? It's way too, like I said, sickly. Well, apparently that's another thing that keeps happening with taste tests. Like we've done a few stories on the channel before. There was like A&W Burger in America where they made the third pounder. The third pounder that beat McDonald's quarter pounder in taste tests, and it was cheaper, but Americans thought that 1/3 was smaller than a quarter because 3 is smaller than 4.
Oh, man.
And that's a real thing as well. I always thought that was an industry legend, and then when I researched it, it's like, no, it's true, and the company are really mad about it. It's like, we made a better burger that was bigger, cheaper, outperformed McDonald's in taste tests. And then fucking idiots thought that 1/3 was smaller than a quarter, and there was nothing we could do about it because we couldn't exactly release adverts telling people that 1/3 is bigger than a quarter because that's patronising. So we just had to shelve the entire thing.
I mean, that would have been the ultimate just... If you could find the right person to come up with the right advertising campaign, you could have had the biggest fucking slam dunk. But because they just said the only idea we had was being patronising and telling people that one fraction is bigger than the other,
they couldn't think of a way to do it. And then the most famous one, we mentioned Coca-Cola, is New Coke, which New Coke outperformed Coca-Cola in taste tests. And I know someone at home's going to say, well, actually they did it so they could replace like the real syrup with like the corn syrup that they used. That's a myth. Like they were already putting the corn syrup in it long before they did that. But one of the funny things about that is when the company were doing the taste tests, people preferred New Coke, but when they told them this is what Coca-Cola's going to be, they got angry and started yelling at the person doing the tests because just the idea of changing Coca-Cola was that offensive to them. Like they legit just got angry at the idea of changing Coca-Cola.
Ultimately, like, you know, I'm a person that, again, I drink like the Pepsi Max and Coke Zero. I prefer Pepsi Max massively, like same with Diet Pepsi to Diet Coke. I don't really drink the full sugar ones, so I can't speak to that, but I think a lot of the reason why people, you know, quote unquote, prefer Coke to anything else is obviously just how fantastic their fucking marketing and branding is.
Yeah, it's closely associated with just Americana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all I said, like, people legit got angry in the taste test when they found out they were going to change the taste of Coca-Cola, even though they prefer the taste. They admitted that they prefer the taste. But when they were asked, would you like it if we changed Coca-Cola? They were no. We'd rather have the worst flavour because that's what I remember. And that's weird, right? People preferred the thing they liked less.
Yeah. But it's, you know, the same idea of, like, how much they own Christmas time, right? Of so many people will say, it's not Christmas time until you see the Coca-Cola advert. And how weird is that?
And then the whole thing about them changing the colour of Santa's outfit, because it used to be traditionally green. Even that's another myth. It's like, it used to be green and or red, but then Coca-Cola solidified it as being red to match with their advertising.
Yeah, and I do love just the idea of not only Coca-Cola over here having ownership over Christmas, but the craze that is like KFC in Japan.
Oh yeah, because it's hard to get turkey over there or something like that, so does KFC. It's like, why don't you get some chicken instead? And you got to book it like a year in advance.
I think they just noticed that they didn't have like a traditional meal for Christmas yet. So they just marketed it as like, hey, this is your Christmas meal. They went, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll do that,
sure.
Why not? Perfect, yeah. And that's like just marketing 101, right? And that's one of the things I was tempted to go into at university was marketing. Because this stuff fascinates me. And speaking of marketing, when it came to marketing the Whisper, they didn't want to announce that they'd invented it. Because they were like, okay, but if we announce that we've made a new chocolate bar and it's got the bubbles in it, then Roundtrees will know we've done it, and they might try and, like, you know, pip us at the post. They might, like, you know, do an advertising blitz of their own. or something like that. And there's like loads of stories of that. Because if you're thinking that's stupid, they make chocolate bars, how serious can it be? Millions and millions of pounds were at stake. And if this launch went badly, or Rowntree's caught wind of it and tried to, like, steal their thunder, they'd lose millions. And there's many examples of this in history of, like, corporations doing shit like this. One is Crystal Pepsi. Crystal Pepsi, Coca-Cola released Tab Zero specifically to fuck over Crystal Pepsi.
Right, okay,
and what they did is, because they basically sacrificed that brand to kill the idea of clear soda. And I've written an article about it for today, I found out, but the short version is that they did market research and found out what is the most off-putting kind of drink right now, and it turns out that was diet drink.
Yeah.
So they marketed heavily Tab Clear as being a diet soft drink.
Right.
And then they specifically had all of their stores stack it next to Crystal Pepsi. And even though Crystal Pepsi wasn't a diet soft drink, the association of clear sodas being diet basically killed Crystal Pepsi in the crib. Because people would see it next to the Tab Clear and they recognised and recalled all the advertising and assumed it was the same kind of deal. So, and there's a quote from someone at Coca-Cola, like, yeah, we're really proud of that one.
Fucking hell.
We basically torpedoed that entire brand. We didn't want to compete with them. We didn't want to compete with them and start making clear cola. So we just thought we'll kill clear Pepsi and keep kicking their ass at just making regular cola.
They marketed their product badly to then have Crystal Pepsi tank via association.
Yep. That's the thing they did. Because, again, millions, if not billions, were at stake. And in regards to advertising the Whisper, there's only one place it got advertised prior to it just being announced that it existed. And that was a small part of the northeast of England, which is in a weird advertising dead zone.
Right.
So they knew if they put an ad there, it probably wouldn't be seen anywhere else. Keep in mind, this was the 80s. So it wasn't like there was the internet. And people couldn't, just tell their friends, hey, there's a new chocolate bar coming out. And the feedback to that ad was very, very encouraging for Cadbury, because when they went to ask wholesalers who were selling, samples of the bar, they said, yeah, we've had shopkeepers get into fistfights to get the last box of these things, because everyone who's seen the ad wants to try one.
I've just had to stop a fight between two retailers who were arguing over the last few boxes of Whisper.
And the shopkeepers are fist fighting in cash and carries to get one. So they were pretty confident this thing was going to do well.
And I am curious, Karl, I don't know whether it came up in your research, is the reasoning behind the name Whisper that they did this secret launch then?
No, it's just Whisper came from the bubbles. They were going to call it they had a failed chocolate bar called the Wisp. And they thought,
right. Because I thought it would have been oh hey, it's a little whisper, it's a little secret that people don't know about.
It's similar to that. There's a lot went into the marketing of it. Well, I think it was there was another chocolate bar that didn't go anywhere called the Wisp, and they took that name and called it the Wispa. And
we had actually a name Wisp, and so it was a very easy step. I can't remember who it was bright enough to say from Wisp to Whisper.
And going back to what I said in the intro, literally nobody, save a handful of people in the north of England, knew this thing existed, save for executives at Cadbury. And the story goes that when they had a big sales meeting to announce that it existed, they invited all their salesmen in and told them, hey, here's a new chocolate bar we've just made, go sell it. And the salesman what? How are we supposed to sell it? And they walked outside to the parking place, and there was 50 trucks with Whisper emblazoned down the side. And they got handed the keys and told to drive to stores and sell this chocolate bar.
Each salesman was awarded a van in storage with sets of transfers to put the name Whisper all over them and then go forth and sell. And it took off.
And the salesman were so do the stores, have they ordered them? It's no, sell them. So they told them just drive up to a store, a supermarket, go to a Tesco, go to Asda or something, and tell them you've got an entire truck full of chocolate bars and sell them. With no advertising. Keep in mind as well, there was no advertising for these things. This is no one knew these things existed except for the salesman at that moment. And apparently this works because they drove up to stores and said, yeah, I've got 40,000 chocolate bars in the back. Do you want them like fucking like Del Boy or something? 70% of them got sold.
75% of the stock was actually accepted. It made the UK trade sit up and take notice.
Through this method of just turning up and saying, do you want to buy 40,000 chocolate bars?
That's why you pay your salesman, right? To sell things.
And that's what they said, yeah. They said, if you're a really good salesman, you'll sell these. And we know that they're going to be popular because the market research we've done shows that people want to try these bars. And then they had this huge advertising blitz. But like I said, people didn't know these things existed until stores were putting them on shelves. And the stores didn't know they existed. They just knew that here's a new chocolate bar from Cadbury. You probably want to get it.
That's the thing, right, as well, is they have that brand already. So it's not Del Boy rocking up going, do you want to buy some candy? It's like... It's fucking Cadbury knocking on your front door going, do you want an exclusive new product?
Yeah, this is a new product that's like we're going to put the advertising starts tomorrow. And if you don't have this on your shelves, customers will be very unhappy. And not only did like they sell virtually all of them, some stores asked for more, which ended up being an issue, and they had to stop selling them because they were so popular. They had to stop selling the Whisper to create a dedicated Whisper factory. That's how popular they were.
It's kind of very silly to have this massive blitz of a campaign all in one go and then not realise that maybe we should make a lot of these.
Well, that's the thing, they sold more than they ever expected. I mean, that's something we talked about on the Factory channel before, of that famous Levi's ad of the guy taking off his jeans and washing them. They had to stop airing that ad because people were buying too many jeans and they couldn't keep up with demand. Right? And I love stuff like this. I love all these stories from, like, business and marketing history. And our analytics show that our audience also likes stories like this. If you are, a fan of stories like this, well, go check out Wiki Weekends. Like, it's linked below. We cover stories like this sometimes. Like, I'm probably going to do an episode on Coca-Cola at some point, or Coca-Cola marketing, because it's fascinating. Like, subjects like this are fascinating to cover. And before we go, Lucas, is there any marketing campaigns that you would like to single out as being particularly memorable or effective?
I mean, I have two, and not necessarily... I don't know how effective either of these campaigns were, but they're memorable. And one that we covered on a Wiki Weekdays podcast that you can go find is Pepsi Man.
Oh, Pepsi Man. Bring him back.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
And many people might not know about Pepsi Man, but we did talk about the Pepsi Man video game on a Wiki Weekdays podcast that you can find. And
we did, yes. Oh, man, Pepsi Man's so good. He's such a good gimmick. I like our gimmick. Do you know the one we came up with? Where they need to bring Pepsi Man back. People don't know Pepsi Man. He's like a superhero who was like, he drank the holy Pepsi and became Pepsi Man. And all he does is run around Japan slaking people's thirst. And me and you came up with an idea for a series of ads where it's like people in like situations, like the one we thought was like a guy falling off a building. He's like, no, help me. And he screams so much his throat becomes hoarse. Pepsi Man catches him, gives him the Pepsi, he drinks it, and then Pepsi Man's like, you're not thirsty anymore, and then just drops him. Because you know what? That's not Pepsi Man's job. His job is to make sure people aren't thirsty.
Yep.
Bring that back. Oh, man. Oh, that's when we mentioned the lilt ladies, right? And you don't remember the lilt ladies?
I didn't remember the lilt ladies, no.
It's like the two Afro-Caribbean wrestler ladies who just drop kick people and drink fucking lilt.
Well, the other one I was going to mention is just like the monstrous campaign that was You've Been Tangoed.
That's the one they had to take off the air. You've Been Tangoed. It's just walking up and slapping people really hard. And then kids were just doing it on the playground. And some kid, we covered that on Fact as well, some kid went deaf.
Yes, Ralph, the big orange fella ran in from the left, and he gives him a good old slapping.
It just illustrates the bite and buzz of real oranges in tango.
Yeah, literally just getting the ears clapped. And I always remembered the You've Been Tangoed adverts that came after it, where it was just covering people in tango and orange juice and stuff, but one where it was they set them up in a roller coaster or some slingshot or something and just got them covered in tango. But yeah, the idea that they just thought that it would go fine to tell kids, hey, just run up to each other and clap their ears.
So that's the thing, it's not it's both people don't know. I'll put the ad in and this got banned immediately because kids were doing it because it's fucking funny. Is you just walk up and you slap people on both of their ears at the same time from behind, and just shout, "You've been tangoed."
Attack. Like, literally, that was something Homeland did in The Boys to take out a superhero.
Like, it fucking sucks. I remember that being a thing at school. I remember, like, all the people writing to, like, tango. The fuck are you doing? You can't do this. This is not... You're not allowed to just air shit like that on TV for kids.
They basically just invented the precursor to happy slapping.
Yeah, which I also remember as being a thing of, like, people that are happy slapping. It's like, I remember seeing the expose on, like, ITV. Like, there's a new trend. Video cameras are now on phones, and what kids are doing is filming themselves randomly assaulting members of the public and calling it happy slapping. And they showed, like, a bunch of clips of it on the news. And what do you think fucking happened the next day? Everyone at school just walking up and just slapping each other on the back of the head.
Yeah. Just spread the publicity of happy slapping. Just
so stupid. So fucking stupid. Well, a couple of ads that I remember. Speaking of phones, one that was really memorable to me is when phones first started getting cameras on them. It might seem weird to people at home watching this, presumably on their phone with a camera on it, but that was a novel concept and people couldn't see the appeal. Like, why would I want a phone with a camera on it? What's the purpose of that? And the ad shows a guy just going around taking pictures of various random objects on his phone. Like, he takes a picture of his meal, takes a picture of his toilet, takes a picture of, like, you know, a local bar, and people just look at him like a weirdo. Then it smash cuts to him in Japan. And he's like, oh, I need to find that, and he just shows people a picture of the toilet. And they point him to where he needs to go. And I thought that's such an ingenious way, an entertaining way of showing why this technology is useful.
The thing is, though, I like that as a marketing campaign. But when, you got to Japan and you showed them just a blurry mess of pixels that you can't make out of, like, the early camera phones that just had no fucking resolution on them whatsoever, that wouldn't be that helpful. In theory, yes, but early camera phones were shocking.
I just always remember that being a very memorable ad. Like, I still remember it now years later. I thought that is so genius. Like, such an ingenious way of getting across how this is a useful feature for a phone to have.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, you see ads and it's just like, it's thinner. It's like, is it the Motorola Razr, though? No, but it's thinner. Is it the Motorola Razr? If it's not the Motorola Razr, I don't give a fuck. I don't care how thin it is. Is it the Motorola Razr? No. Then fuck you. Make phones that snapshot again.
The real question is, what's going to last longer? My, like, Google Pixel 6 that you could see me showing to you, not people on... I'm off camera, obviously. But... Or the 3310 that I've still got. Like, what's going to last longer, Karl?
3310. I'll bring it back. Bring it back. Is it okay? In which case, to end on, so they brought the Wispa back because of a fan campaign. If you right now, Lucas, could lead a fan campaign to bring back a discontinued product, what would it be? Because I've got one. I used to fucking love these. And it's one of those products I describe as you only find it in discount shops. Because they released it, it didn't do well, and they got rid of them. And it was shots. And do you remember Walker's shots?
Are these the things that never came out of the packet? They're like ice cream bottles, like the ice cube balls.
They were like the ice cream balls, yeah.
Yeah, they just melted halfway and just became a mush that you couldn't get out of the thing.
Yeah, and they were like, basically, it was a packet of crisps, or chips for Americans, and it was like a long, thin packet, and instead of crisps, it was like tiny little potato balls. And the idea was...
I'm thinking of a different thing.
Oh, okay, you'd eat them like a shot. Like, you'd in one go. Do you know, people always like, they realise that one of the things people love doing with a bag of crisps is when you get to the bottom, and you crunch them all up, and then you just eat the last few. And it was a product that was basically just, it's all that.
I like how I said the ice cream ice cube balls, and you went, yeah, and then proceeded to talk about crisps.
Joe, it's like that, but imagine it's with crisps.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I used to love them, and I remember, like, the discount shop near me, when I was growing up, must have just got, like, a packet, whether it's, like, the end of the thing that they're not sold, they're not popular, just wholesalers will buy them on the cheap. And they did, and they bought them on the cheap, and they were, like, 10p. And I remember buying, like, 15 packets with my pocket money, and I was addicted to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never came back. So I would, like, bring those back. I'll bring that shit back, 'cause they were so good. Now there's, like, these barbecue ones that were amazing.
I mean...
So what, any for you?
I think I can... You can probably guess what mine might be based on, like, the struggle that I've had. I've, like, just bring back some Rock Band instruments for me to buy.
You want Rock Band back? Well, like, so that's a product you bring back. Is there a food, though?
A food specifically?
Yeah, like Joe, discontinued foods. People always talk about the McRib and stuff. This is one for me. Like, I've never seen anyone talk about these, but I love them so much. And they just like I said, they were. I only saw them on sale in one shop, and then I never saw them again. So they must not have been popular. And they were so nice. I can't even. I'm googling them. I can't find them. Like they be. It might just be a memory that I don't have.
I mean, there's probably like flavors of crisps and stuff that they've had in the past that I'd like to bring back, but
there's so many good flavors of crisps that never came back. Like the Christmas dinner one.
Ugh.
The Christmas dinner. See, that's the thing. You say but it was roast chicken. But it was roast chicken with a bit of stuff. So it's like the equivalent, I think. Like it's like the American version, like flaming hot Cheetos ones. Like so that's the idea. But I can't seem to find like the ones I wanted. But yeah, is there any like flavors of crisps that you want coming back? So I remember I remember the Christmas dinner ones being back.
Because that's the thing. I generally think like when I always like think of like the Walkers ones because Walkers do a load of different ones, but generally the ones that I always like like the Marmite ones and the Worcester sauce ones, and they do get brought back
every now and again.
Yeah, so like I think for me a lot of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, like apart from when it was all the stupid ones where it's like the World Cup flavors and stuff like that, and I can't always remember them, but yeah, most of them are just like the ones that come back anyway because they just cycle them back round.
I'll tell you what, Lucas, I've just gone on to the Museum of Crisps. So let's give people a preview of Wiki Weekend, shall we? And I've just now got up 141 special editions of Walkers.
Oh my god.
Would you like to just go through a few?
Let's go through
These are all real flavours of Walkers then. So the first one, American Cheeseburger, and I do remember those, they were quite nice.
They were alright, yeah.
You mentioned the World Cup, Argentinian flame grilled steak, which is just steak and onion, right?
Well, the ones that I remember, they had them back in the day. I can't remember which World Cup it was for, but where it was puns on players' names.
Oh, yeah. And they're just flavours that already exist, right? But it's the same flavour with marketing. It's like cheese and onion. Like the amount of variations on cheese. Ooh, it's cheese and chutney. It's that's just cheese and onion, but you've marketed it differently.
Yeah.
But there's a couple here, Lucas. We have baked beans. I tried them, they suck, they're not very nice. Birmingham chicken balti, Branston pickle, Brazilian salsa, Brussels sprouts, Builder's breakfast, Cajun squirrel, caramelized onion, balsamic vinegar. The fact that when did balsamic vinegar become a posh thing? I fucking hate balsamic vinegar. Cheddar cheese and bacon, cheese and chive, cheese and cranberry, cheese and onion, cheese fondue, cheese toasty and Worcester sauce, cheese, cucumber and salad cream, cheese, cucumber, salad cream. So there's cheese, cucumber and salad cream, and then there's cheese, cucumber with cucumber flavour salad cream. Chili and lemon, chili and chocolate, chicken tikka masala, chip shop curry sauce, coronation chicken, crispy duck and hoisin, Dutch Edam cheese, which is my favourite kind of cheese, it's made backwards, English roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, fiery peri peri, fish and chips, flame grilled steak, fiercely flaming hot, 4 cheese and red onion, French garlic baguette, fry up, which was based on Stephen Fry, gently infused with Thai spices, German bratwurst sausage, glazed ham, gourmet burger, chicken classic cheeseburger, Greek kebab, ham and mustard, hickory smoked cheddar and crispy bacon, hint of salt, hog roast, hot chicken wings, hot dog with tomato sauce, Irish stew, Italian spaghetti bolognese, jalapeno and cheese, jerk chicken, KFC, king prawn cocktail, lamb and mint sauce, las iguanas, chili con carne, lime and black pepper, Lincolnshire sausage, and it just goes on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
What is there any you found that are just jumping out to you, Lucas?
I mean, the jerk chicken one I seem to remember was a really nice one, but a lot of them when you're like, oh, king prawn cocktail, it's great, so prawn cocktail.
The one that I remember as well, again, you only see them in discount shops, I think they must not have been popular. They're not Watsits, they're giant Watsits. He's in giant Watsits. They're so
I love
big.
giant Watsits, yeah.
You get 4 in a bag. They're so massive. The fucking just ginormous one. And then there's all obviously there's the fake flavours. Have you seen any of those? They're always hilarious. The fake crisp flavours.
I mean, I haven't, but I did find a couple of the names of the footballer ones, Karl.
Okay, let's go through a few of those for us.
The only ones that I could find here just on this thing, so you had, after Gary Lineker, Salt and Lineker instead of salt and vinegar. For Michael Owen, they had a Cheese and Owen crisps.
That's not bad. I don't mind
And
cheese and
then
Owen.
I think probably the best one was for David Beckham. They had Smokey Beckham.
Speaking of, I remember another ad that got banned almost immediately, and it's like when that, do you know the beer brand Beck's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and when they were trying to like advertise, 'cause that always had like a reputation of being like a posh beer, even though it's wank. And they had like an advertising campaign that got immediately pulled of like, you don't need to be posh to suck down a Beck's. And that got like immediately pulled off. It's like, you can't fucking put that on TV.
No.
But there you go. Let us know your favourite or discontinued chip flavour in the comment section below. Cheers, everybody.